Once upon a time, in a small village, there was an old woman who lived alone. She had no family, no children, and no one to take care of her. But she was kind, and she loved animals. One day, while walking in the forest, she found a tiny baby baboon. It was weak and hungry. The old woman felt sorry for the little animal, so she took it home. She gave it food, kept it warm, and cared for it like her own child. As days passed, the baboon grew bigger and stronger. It loved the old woman and followed her everywhere. The villagers were afraid of the baboon because it was huge, but the old woman always said, "He is kind. He will never hurt anyone." The baboon helped the old woman with her daily work. It carried heavy firewood, brought water from the river, and even guarded the house at night. The old woman and the baboon became best friends. One day, the old woman became very sick. She lay in bed, too weak to move. The baboon sat beside her, watching over her with sad eyes. It did not understand what was happening, but it knew something was wrong. The baboon sat beside the old woman, gently touching her hand with its big, warm fingers. It made soft, sad sounds, hoping she would get up and smile like before. But the old woman was too weak. She could not even lift her hand to pat the baboon's head like she always did. The villagers heard that the old woman was sick, but they were too afraid of the giant baboon to come close to her house. They whispered to each other, "That wild animal might attack us if we go near." But the baboon did not leave the old woman's side. It brought her water in a clay cup, just as she had taught it. It picked sweet fruits and placed them beside her bed. It even tried to cook the porridge she always made, though it did not know how. Then, one morning, the old woman did not wake up. The baboon gently shook her, but she did not move. It made sad noises, louder this time. It did not understand why she would not wake up. Days passed, and the baboon stayed by the old woman's side, refusing to leave. The villagers, seeing this, finally came closer. An old man in the village said, "The woman is gone. We must bury her." The villagers dug a grave near her house. But when they tried to take her body, the baboon growled and held her tightly. It did not want to let her go. Would the villagers be able to bury the old woman? And what would happen to the giant baboon now that its only friend was gone? The villagers stood at a distance, afraid of the giant baboon. It held the old woman's body tightly, refusing to let go. Its eyes were full of sadness, and it made low, sorrowful sounds. An old man in the village stepped forward and said gently, "The woman was kind to you, and now she must rest. Let us bury her with love." The baboon looked at the old man, then back at the old woman's face. It did not understand why she would not wake up, but deep inside, it knew she was gone. Slowly, with great sadness, it placed her body on the ground and stepped back. The villagers buried the old woman near her little house, under a big tree where she used to sit in the afternoons. The baboon watched silently, its heart heavy with sorrow. After the burial, the villagers expected the baboon to leave. "Without the old woman, it will go back to the forest," they whispered. But the baboon did not leave. Instead, it sat by the grave, day and night. At first, the villagers were still afraid. They stayed away, watching from a distance. But as days passed, they saw something that amazed them. The baboon started cleaning the old woman's house. It picked up the broom and swept the floor, just as it had seen her do. It carried water from the river and placed it in the pots. It even gathered firewood and stacked it neatly by the door. The villagers were shocked. "It is keeping her house just the way she left it," one woman said. And then something even more surprising happened. One evening, a small child ran too close to the river and slipped. The water was deep, and the child began to cry for help. Before anyone could reach him, the giant baboon rushed forward, jumped into the water, and pulled the child to safety. The villagers gasped. "It saved the child," they said in amazement. After that day, the villagers began to change how they saw the baboon. Was it really a wild, dangerous animal? Or was it something more? The villagers stood in shock. The same baboon they had once feared had just saved a child's life. Slowly, they began to see it differently. Maybe it wasn't just a wild animal. Maybe it was more like one of them. A brave woman stepped forward. She looked at the baboon and said softly, "Thank you. The baboon blinked at her but said nothing, of course. Still, it seemed to understand.